This is the Momentum Podcast.
One of the biggest challenges that entrepreneurs face is that they can execute the right project, the right process, bring on the right people to their team, but do it at completely the wrong time so that it doesn't create momentum in their business. One of the most fundamental frameworks that we teach in order to help entrepreneurs overcome this challenge is the Billionaire Code. Alex created the Billionaire Code after decades of research, study, and real-world experience. And the result was a 9-level framework that shows you exactly where you need to go from startup to a 9-figure business and beyond. Not only that, the Billionaire Code shows you what you should be focused on at each level so that you can execute the right project, process, bring on the right people in order to create the most momentum in your business. This episode is all about what it took to create the Billionaire Code and how you can start to execute it in your business today. I hope you enjoy.
I'm Alex Sharfin, and this is the Momentum Podcast, made for empire builders, game changers, trailblazers, shot takers, record breakers, world makers, and creators of all kinds. Those among us who can't turn it off and don't know why anyone would want to. We challenge complacency, destroy apathy, and we are obsessed with creating momentum so we can roll over bureaucracy and make our greatest contribution. Sure, we pay attention to their rules, but only so that we can bend them, break them, then rewrite them around our own will. We don't accept our destiny, we define it. We don't understand defeat because you only lose if you stop, and we don't know how. While the rest of the world strives for average and clings desperately to the status quo, we are the minority, the few, who are willing to hallucinate there could be a better future. And instead of just daydreaming of what could be, we endure the vulnerability and exposure it takes to make it real. We are the evolutionary hunters, clearly the most important people in the world, because entrepreneurs are the only source of consistent, positive human evolution, and we always will be. Excited to be here with you today. I wanted to jump in and talk about the Billionaire Code for a couple of reasons. One, I want to share some of the origin story of the Billionaire Code, and then also I wanted to share how understanding this 9-level framework will help you avoid one of the most costly mistakes that entrepreneurs are making today. So let me jump in. So, I wanted to just do a quick recording on the Billionaire Code itself. So for most of my life, I had this obsessive question. How do you make business grow? How can you help a business grow? How can you consistently grow an enterprise, grow a business month after month, year after year? And the challenge with that question is, if you obsess over how do you make business grow, then you realize at each phase of business, that question is different. Sure, there's universal things that you need to have at every stage of business. You need to have a good idea. You need to be clear on your outcome. You need to be clear on what you're doing. You have to measure to make sure you're moving forward towards success. But at each stage of business growth, as an entrepreneur, every time our business grows, we have to change nearly 100% of the behaviors we have. Even if you're selling when your business is at $300,000 and you're taking sales calls, when your business is at $1 million, you're going to change the way you do sales calls. When your business is at 10 or 20 million, you might have to delegate those sales calls. So as we grow, we are constantly shifting what we do as entrepreneurs. So my obsession throughout much of my career is there one clear path to entrepreneurial success? Is there a clear system where you could gamify business and say, look, if you start on this side of this framework and you work all the way across it and you make sure you fill in every tactic, you do them all strategically, you will grow your business. And for a long time, that was this thought in the back of my mind that I would tell myself, like, it's probably never going to happen, and here's why. As I started studying businesses and looking at growth and consulting with businesses and working with different types of organizations in different industries, what I realized was they are all very different. And in a lot of cases, they look completely different. But then I just never let go of that question. I kept asking myself, is there one path? Is there a path to entrepreneurial success? Can we find this path? Can I define it? And it took literally decades. After about 25 years of asking that question, maybe a little bit less than that, I jumped in to, or not jumped in, I went down, I remember I went down to our basement whiteboard one day. It was here in this house. We have a huge whiteboard in our basement. And I started writing up the levels of the life of questions that I created in the entrepreneurial personality type book. See, I think as entrepreneurs, we go through these 9 life questions, both throughout our lives and then sometimes over and over again in a day. And the questions they're pretty simple. They start with, how do I stop pressure and noise? That's like one of the most foundational questions, especially that we start at the beginning. And it goes from how do I stop pressure and noise to what is wrong with me? And then how do I get ahead? How do I get even further ahead? How does my team get me ahead? Then we switch. There's this question that switches when we start hiring a team. It goes from how does my team get me ahead, where it's still about us. Then it goes to how do I get my team ahead? And then how do I get my team even further ahead? When we make the commitment to coaching and growing a team, it goes from me to we. And then how do we help others get ahead? And how do we help everyone? And in the lives of entrepreneurs, I saw those same 9 foundational questions over and over again. And so I was writing those up on a board one day and I started correlating them with the levels of business growth, and something clicked and the Billionaire Code came out. This 9-level framework that shows exactly what is going on at the $0 to $40,000 level. So right when you're at seeker or when you're at starter, 40 to 100 or promoter, 100 to 300. I could go through the whole thing, 300 to a million to 3 million, 3 to 10, 10 to 30, and 30 to 100. And at each of those levels, here's what's interesting. There are specific foundational focuses, not just the specific foundational question, but specific foundational focuses that if you put your time into them, your business will grow and you will make progress. There are specific foundational issues that if you correct them, your business will grow and you make progress. And here's why I think that this concept is so important and why the Billionaire Code is so crucial. And I'm going to tell you how to get a hold of it in just a second, but here's why. I think one of the biggest issues in the entrepreneurial world today is that there are millions of entrepreneurs out there hustling and working hard and putting in the time, putting in the effort, trying to make things happen. They're even accomplishing their projects. They're doing what they set out to do, but then they're not seeing the growth in their business that they want. Have you been there? Have you had that feeling of putting in the time, putting in the effort, the energy, the focus, getting the thing done, and then looking at where the success is coming from, and you kind of feel like there's crickets. Nothing changed, nothing happens. Here's why. One of the biggest issues in the entrepreneurial world today is that entrepreneurs are focused on what might be a good project or a good outcome, but at the absolute wrong time. They're not doing it when they need to be doing it. And as a result, you can accomplish a project at a 10 out of 10. You can crush it. You can do everything you need. But if it's not what your business needs right now, you have put a lot of time, effort, and energy into something that's not going to pay off, that's not going to move you forward. And that is debilitating as an entrepreneur. It's depressing. It causes reactivity and frustration and anxiety. I know, because I'm not just talking about this. I've been there. In my 20s, in my 30s, before I had frameworks, before I knew how to properly evaluate my business, there were definitely times, more than once, where I made the decision to commit to a project or an outcome, and I put all the time and effort and energy and investment that I needed to in it, and it didn't pan out, and we didn't make progress. And I know that level of frustration, and I know just how challenging it feels. I know how confronting it feels when that happens. And so I created the Billionaire Code to give entrepreneurs clarity for every level that you go through to know exactly where you should be focused. Because here's what you should be doing as an entrepreneur. At each level of business that you encounter, you should be covering everything you need to have at that level and then creating a process so that it continues to persist as you move forward as an entrepreneur. Let me give you an example. At the seeker level of the Billionaire Code, the first level of the Billionaire Code, $0 to $40,000, what we feel you need to have in order to graduate from that level is to have the process, the structure, the routine in your life to support yourself. So you need a morning routine, and we want to make sure you can set personal goals and achieve them, and that you're doing your daily planning, and that you are efficient and optimized as a human being. At $0 to $40,000, that's the time to take care of it, and it will move you forward through the Billionaire Code. Now, if you get to the next level, or the third level promoter, or the next level builder, and you continue to go up the levels of the Billionaire Code, and you're not taking care of yourself, that is going to challenge you like crazy. So this framework, what it allows you to do is know where you should be focused right now, what you should be focusing on that maybe is foundational that you haven't had so far, and then what you can anticipate that you're going to need next. That's why the Billionaire Code is so game-changing for entrepreneurs. You know, I can remember back the first time that I ever shared this content in a live class. And it wasn't just me. I had another speaker with me, but I remember the two of us wrote all 9 levels up on the board, and I was really into it. I was excited about sharing it. We had it all up on the board, and I turned around and the audience was just stunned. We got questions like, hey, can I get a copy of this? Where's the download? How did you figure all this out? Because once we showed it to them, they just accepted it as fact. Like the Billionaire Code was real enough that they accepted it as fact. And I'm excited about this framework. It has changed so many entrepreneurs' lives, and I want to be able to share it with you. And so if you want to just go and run and get a copy of the framework, you just go to billionairecode.com. It's there any day of the week you want it. You can download it, and you'll understand exactly what I was talking about as far as where you're going to focus, what you can anticipate you need next, and where you might need to shore up your foundation. Now, I'd love to spend some more time with you and explain the Billionaire Code. And I've got a really exciting event coming up. October 6th, 7th, and 8th, I'm going to be recording some content for behind the paywall in our courses. I'm actually going to be recording some content that we're going to edit and use in a bunch of different places, but normally it's content that would not be available to the public for free. It's stuff that we would normally charge for. And what I'm going to do is record the live content right here in my office studio, but if you want to come and be part of the audience, you can watch me record live. And then once I cut and we have the video recorded, I'm going to answer all the questions that anyone has. And on October 6th in the morning, I'm going to be teaching the entrepreneurial personality type, some of the newest and latest information we have about the EPT. And in the afternoon of October 6th, I'm going to be teaching the Billionaire Code. I'm going to go through all 9 levels in detail to give you the clarity of exactly where you should be and what you should anticipate to do next. And I'm going to answer any questions anybody has. So if you'd like to come and watch me record the update to the Billionaire Code with the most recent information, the most recent updates, the most recent changes we've made from communicating with our members, from understanding what's really going on, I would love to have you there. So if you go to momentummasterclass.com, you can sign up to be there with us October 6th, 7th, and 8th. You'll start to get reminders from my team, and don't miss it. Not only do you want to make sure that you see this stuff, but you want to be there live so that you can get your questions answered, so that you can be there with the rest of the people who are going to be there from around the world. I expect to have thousands of people joining us, and I would love for you to be one of them. So take a minute right now, go to momentummasterclass.com and join me October 6th, 7th, and 8th. I'm going to be teaching, like I said, the entrepreneurial personality type and the Billionaire Code. I'm going to be teaching about momentum planning, the momentum equation, how you create momentum in your life, and client-centric missions, which is your long-term outcome. This is game-changing, life-changing stuff for us as entrepreneurs, and I can't wait to see you there. So go to momentummasterclass.com. Join me for 3 days in October. From the beginning to the end of those 3 days, I think you are going to have a completely different view of yourself, of your business, of how we create momentum, and where you should be focused so that you can go and accomplish what you want to fast. I look forward to seeing you the first week of October. Go to momentummasterclass.com and register. I can't wait to see you there.